On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. It's kind of weird in an ironically strange kind of way, but Trump opened up the government. This happened last night. He signed it. We got all that news, of course. But then the stock market futures were down because the government was open. Stock market was soaring when the government was closed. I wonder why that is. Think about that for a second. Stock market goes down when the government's open. It goes up when the government's shut down. Just keep that in mind, because we are heading into a bumpy ride, and the Democrats are losing face and credibility, and I think that's part of the plan. I think that's part of what we're trying to do, is destroy them in enough places prior to the big moments to where there's no credibility at all with the deep state. We're going to see that coming up. Deep state, Democrat, use it synonymously. Again, I've got family members and whatnot that are Democrats. So I try not to poo all over the Democrats per se, but anybody that's supporting communism and heavy socialism, I'm going to poo on you. You're pretty messed up. Here is, the circus happened apparently at this, they were robbing someplace. I don't know exactly where it was. Probably really isn't that germane, but they packed a lot of people in this compact car. You guys are looking for a new car and you've got a big family. I highly recommend this vehicle. This one will take care of business. Check it out. Let's see if we can do this again. Yeah, so you can do the counting. One thing I'm going to point out that's very, very funny about this is at one point the fuel thing gets popped open. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the trunk. 8, the driver. I think I missed one. Someone even popped, there's the ninth maybe. Someone even popped this thing. I was expecting someone to hop out of that, right? The gas tank. Some dude crawls out of the gas tank. It's like, where the shit did you just come from? Gas tank, man. Yeah, you smell. Yeah, okay. So there you go. That's how that happens. Another one that cracked me up, just a story. I'm starting with the fun stuff. They're calling him Marty McHigh. He was a New Jersey driver, crashed his 1980s DeLorean. You guys remember the DeLorean, the Back to the Future car? He was busted with 87 bags of cocaine. And really, it begs the question, if he would have had 88 bags of cocaine, would he have gone back to the future? Or still to jail? I assume if you have 88 bags of cocaine, you are literally so high, you're in the future already, right? Anyway, I thought that was funny, whatever the case is. I might share that with my sister. She's the funny one in the family. Democrat Rep. Dean says the shutdown made people focus on health care. It was very successful. What's funny is it did that, but it focused also on the problem of health care, the way insurance companies are raising prices every year so they can make more and more profits. It taught us that when government gets involved and starts paying for things just willy-nilly, that they lose efficiency almost immediately. And that's exactly what we saw with Obamacare. It was a complete fiasco. Now, so, Democrats, you were successful at pointing out healthcare being the problem and people's costs of healthcare being the problem. You guys just wanted more money thrown at it, raise taxes, do whatever you got to do. But the rest of us are like, this is a problem that needs to be solved. We're not going to throw more money at it. Bad idea. No. We're already making people rich enough. Thank you very much. Democrat strategist laments party consumed by rage and hatred since Trump came down the escalator. This is a very weird thing that seems to really react to certain people. They need anger to get inspired, but it's a weird wiring in the brain that's occurring to make that happen. It's happening on both sides of the fence, by the way. Democrats for sure seem angry all the time. Like whenever you talk to them, they're angry, especially right now. Like when Biden was in office, they were happy and they liked to gloat about it. But it's, that's how they roll. So this guy, whatever his name is, what's this dude's name? Alex Marlow. He makes some good points. And the guy he had on the show with him, who his name is a Democratic strategist, Julian Epstein, he was talking about the party and some of the problems they have. I think this was pretty good stuff. Check it out.
They're just going to try to impeach him for nothing if the Democrats win the House, which I think makes that entire process seem less credible. So I'm just trying to figure out what is the guiding ideology of the left at this moment.
Well, you say it's stupid, and I agree it's stupid. You can look at the Democrats since Trump came down the escalator, and they have been consumed by rage and hatred for Trump for 10 years now. And where has it gotten them? I mean, that's the
Yeah.
only sort of question you need to ask. And it's gotten them nowhere. They continue to trail Trump on nearly every single major issue. Look at David Shore's analysis using 25 million data points. And all of the major issues that voters care about, with the possible exception of healthcare, the Democrats continue to trail Trump. And Trump has been elected now twice, and he's sort of, he is a force of nature around the world, and not just in the United States, and around the world. So it hasn't worked. So you're right that it's stupid and it hasn't worked. Then the question is, so why do they do it if it doesn't work? Well, I think it's a function of the social media age. They discovered in 2012, Alex, that the thing that keeps eyeballs on Facebook longer than anything else is the emotion of anger.
Yeah.
So if you can get people to be angry about something, that negative emotion is addictive. It's a cortisol high. And,
sure.
And it's a dopamine high. And if you can get people to be angry, that's how you get attention. And a lot of Democratic politicians today are not really governing. They're influencers. And what they want to be is influencers. They want as much attention to raise money and to sort of self-exalt as they can. And so the reason that I think it's everything is the Trump derangement, oppose Trump at all costs,
yes,
is because it's good inside their community. It's not
you're
yeah. And when he starts talking, he had an issue with his microphone at some point. I don't know why he's holding on to it and then shoving it up to his face. But anyway, whatever Marlowe's doing. But the point is, it was this anger. This anger is what's stirring a lot of things right now. That's certainly behind a lot of the progressive movement for sure. They're just fiery angry all the time. No pun intended, actually. In fact, U.S. Attorney Haba's office was vandalized by an intruder. Fortunately, she was okay. I don't think she was actually there at the time, but someone attempted to find her, confront her. They destroyed property, and they fled the scene. Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced this today on X. She said, "Thankfully, Alina is okay. Any violence or threats of violence against any federal officer will not be tolerated, period. This is unfortunately becoming a trend as radicals continue to attack law enforcement agents around the country." Be careful when you guys go to some of these places. A lot of people are kind of wondering, Schumer? Schumer who? Who's this Schumer fella you're talking about? I don't know what you mean. The centrist broke ranks. And I put this under tricks of the trade because I actually think this is part of what we're doing right now, or what's happening. Maybe it's a better place. Trump's certainly playing a part. To give him all the credit, I don't think is fair. We're all playing a role in this. But the centrists have broken ranks. The Democrat Party is starting to fracture, but not just that it's starting to fracture, which is cool in and of itself, but it's that it's fracturing in a way that people are finally starting to feel safe to come out in disagreement with the myriad of things that have been hijacked in their own party. So Democrats can finally come out and be like, I'm a Democrat, but I'm completely against all this. That's one option they have. That's cool. I don't care. Some of you might, whatever. A lot of Democrats are going to become independents because they're just sick of the party and what it's representing, because the progressive's not going to let go of the left. The progressive's not going to let go of the Democrat Party. They have to have a party to be able to run in elections. And as we have seen in Seattle, and I think we'll talk about it, that mayor that was slowly getting more and more votes as the mail-in ballots continued and continued and continued. Finally, she's winning. The communist person instead of the actual hardcore Democrat that was rerunning and winning. This is what they do. So again, there has to be a level of comfort for any of those people on the left to have a chance of being saved, if you will. I don't know how else to say it. I know if there's anyone from the left watching this, they'd be like, saved? That's such a dick thing to say, Dan. Whatever. You guys are on the wrong side of the fence, but whatever. So yeah, Schumer, centrist broke. These individuals that broke, again, I've given credit before. Fetterman's one, Manchin, Sinema, mostly Manchin. I feel like, honestly, Sinema was pretty weak in the big picture. There was like 1 or 2 votes where she actually came through. She was the first one to go independent, but she was also in Arizona. It was a very different political spectrum from where our good friend Manchin was. And again, a lot of people got mad at me for saying that, but the dude saved our butts 5 times, 6 times. Fetterman has saved our butts multiple times. We have people that are Democrats wearing the Democrat badge that have been Democrats their whole life that actually feel bad about it. They're like, I don't know what's going on with my party. They feel lost. They should feel safer amongst us. And they do. Actually, they speak very highly of our side of the fence. Most of the time, whenever they come and visit, we're like super cool to them. The other side of the fence, not the same. Republicans going over to the left and having brunch doesn't go well. Democrats coming over to the Republican side and having brunch goes great. Worst case scenario, they might have to do the Pledge of Allegiance or possibly partake in a prayer or sit there and protest, whatever makes you happy. But ultimately, you're going to find a very good time. So Senators Angus King of Maine, Jeannie Shaheen, Maggie Hassan, however, Senate Majority Leader, these three were big players. Susan Collins was one of the Republicans that actually played a role. Another Republican, John Hoeven, played a big role in this. Katie Britt played a big role in this. What are the other names? There's, again, the 8 of them. We've said the names before. This is the reuniting of our country. Reunited, and it feels so good. Sucks being a little nasally when you're trying to sing, but whatever the hell. You got to deal with what you got to deal with, man. Man's got to make money. I'm out here shaking my tootie. Justice Department launches investigation into security failures at Berkeley TPUSA event. All sorts of security failures. People were they were being harassed. They were being spat on. All sorts of things were happening. Violence. They were being blocked from being able to get in or out. This is illegal. This is intimidation. This is what the progressives do. It's that anger. Now, again, my hat's off to people that go to these events, especially at Berkeley. Good on you. Good on you guys that continued on in Charlie Kirk's vein, knowing full well the danger you're putting yourself in. So they're investigating, which is fantastic. California, they canceled 17,000 commercial driver's licenses following the federal audit. The audit finally occurred, and they found at least 16,000 issues. I don't know where we got the extra 1,000. Maybe California's like, oh, here's a couple extra for good measure. Sean Duffy's like, all right, cool. We're going to keep looking because it could be even worse than that. We don't know. But he says if this continues on, we're gonna fine you, or well, not fine, but stop funding $160 million for the first year. And he says doubling that in year 2. So the Department of Transportation reiterated on Wednesday that it will continue to push California to revoke all illegal, non-domiciled CDLs or pull $160 million in federal funds. Not just that you don't have a name or that you can't speak English or whatever, but literally, you're not a citizen. You are not allowed. And these licenses are likely being used to vote because they register you to vote when you get a license. So there's 17,000 votes. A lot of people are talking right now, I can't believe California keeps voting the same stuff in. No, it's the same thing with New York. I can't believe New York keeps voting the same stuff in. They're not. That's what people don't get. There is no heavy blue state that's literally as heavy blue as they pretend, or portend for that matter either. They're not. They're cheating in the elections. Like what happened in Seattle. Seattle was going to get a Democrat mayor one way or the other, but they ended up with the communist after multiple mail-in ballots continued to trickle in. They didn't vote this in. Now, again, these are sanctuary cities that this is happening in. Why? Because they've got a whole lot of extra people that are registered. And either those people actually go and vote, which I doubt because it's illegal, or their IDs or personas are being used to cast votes on their behalf. And that's also illegal. Justice Department announces indictment of former Gavin Newsom's chief of staff. Picture over here, quite the looker. Good-looking lady there, huh? Rad. Wow. She's got little handlebars going on up there. I'm totally kidding, by the way. Anyway. But yeah, she's in big potential trouble. Now, again, she'll get her day in court, and that's how it's supposed to be. But she's been indicted and accused of corruption and conspiring to defraud the United States. Williamson, who was indicted by a federal grand jury last week on 23 charges, served as Gavin Newsom's top aide from 2022 through the end of 2024. Williamson has also worked as a political consultant. U.S. Attorney Eric Grant confirmed the indictment and said the former chief of staff has been charged with conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud, bank fraud, wire fraud, conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruct justice, subscribing to false tax returns, and making false statements. This is a crucial step in an ongoing political corruption investigation that began more than 3 years ago, Grant said. As it always has, the U.S. Attorney's Office will continue to work tirelessly with our law enforcement partners to protect the people of California from political corruption. Thank God somebody is, because it's certainly not our governor or our politicians, because those people are all bought and paid for. And again, this state's been run by 4 families forever. I mean, literally forever. Eric Swalwell, he's getting caught up into this whole mortgage fraud thing as well. Apparently looking at his finances makes one wonder just how he manages to even qualify for a mortgage. His age, and he still hasn't paid off his student loan debts, by the way. It would generally be a pretty big red flag if you're trying to get a loan, whatever. But Congressman Eric Swalwell names Washington, D.C. home as principal residence and has no California address. He's supposed to be a California rep, which means he has to have primary residence in, California. Secondary residence would be in D.C. He's another one that's been lying. So there we go. We're starting to see some. I feel like this had something in it, but oh well. Biden, and they actually have the investigation going. That's what I intended to paste in there, but apparently that didn't happen properly. But there is an actual charge that's been made against him. So, yeah, I don't have that story in front of me. It was reported on, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, and a few of them. Weird ones trying to come to the rescue of Swalwell. Biden judge orders release of 615 migrants caught in Chicago's Midway Blitz. This is going to have to be appealed. I don't know what's going on with this, but this is wholly illegal. Especially without giving a chance for the other side to really fight. This is just very strange. But U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Cummings, appointed by former President Joe Biden, is ordering the release of 615 illegal immigrants detained in the Chicago area as part of the Trump administration's Midway Blitz enforcement action. In the order, Judge Cummings claims the detention by U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement violate a 2022 settlement agreement that restricts warrantless arrests in Chicago for actual citizens. If you're here illegally, you don't need a warrant. So this is wholly illegal, especially from the federal standpoint. Chicago's rules don't matter when it comes to the federal laws. So again, this is going to have to be stayed almost immediately. So whatever. Don't get too hung up. Don't freak out. But yeah, of course. Incoming mayor of Seattle, Katie Wilson, is being slammed for claiming she will unilaterally ban grocery stores from closing down in her city. The government will force them to stay open. We cannot allow big grocery chains to close stores, where people keep stealing. So what they believe, the progressives, the communists, they believe that the grocery store, whatever chain, they'll fill in blank here, that they should be able to be robbed, and then they should continue to just put product in there and get robbed, and put product in and get robbed, and put product in and get robbed, and just lose money. And then you got to pay rent on top of that and everything else. So it's like, we're going to get out. This store doesn't do well. Theft is way too high a problem. Yeah, we're booging out. And she's like, no, you can't do that. Why don't you try Mom Donnie's thing, sweetheart? Why don't you just create your own city-run stores? See how that goes. Because you won't have any merchandising. You won't have any ability to get the deals. You won't have the buying power that the grocery stores have. So you'll be paying top dollar for everything. Yeah, good luck, sweetheart. Good luck. That's very illegal. You can't force a business to stay open. So again, this is what the progressives are doing. This is what's happening. Guys, I want to talk about this again. Had a great response yesterday, but this is people there's a couple big problems that we're having right now. One, we're becoming insulin resistant. And what that is that's because we're constantly taking carbohydrates or getting carbohydrates from all these different areas, either snacking, weight control problems, fatty livers, like we're up and down on stuff. So again, insulin resistance is one of the keys to our survivability. And a lot of the diabetes is coming from insulin resistance, not so much that you're not producing insulin or not capable of producing insulin, but your body's constantly shocked. And because of that shocking with the carbs, no carbs, carbs, no carbs, carbs, no carbs, constantly going through that your body's just like, fuck carbs. That's really what it does. So it stops making insulin, which then creates a problem. Now you're not properly breaking down the carbohydrates. And because of that, it becomes fat. So a lot of the overweight, obesity issues that we have is insulin resistance. And a lot of the diabetes that many of us have are insulin resistance. This product is awesome. They call it Feel Great. And there's two different parts of it. I actually tried the first one, the Unimate, or Unimate, they say, but Unimate because it's Yorba Mate, I think that's where it comes from. It's actually tasty, the one I got, and there's a bunch of different flavors. I got the lemon, very good. Doesn't quite stir up super easy, but it did. Most of it dissolved. There's still some chunks in there. I tried to drink them down because it was, again, delicious. And it did actually help me not have the cravings I typically have in the morning. Now, again, I wasn't really going heavy on it today because it's a live show, and I got other things going on, so today wasn't the best day to test it, let's put it that way, but I did get one of them in, and it was surprising how it works. This helps bring down A1C numbers. People have talked about using this, and this is one of those things you want to keep doing it until you get yourself to a point where you want, but it's a very healthy approach to losing weight and a healthy approach to getting your body off this insulin resistance. This video, it's a minute long, really explains it. I want you to go to otfspecial.com. If you're just trying to lose 10 pounds or more, this is a product you very much want to try because, again, the big part is the insulin resistance. People are noticing there's a whole bunch of things that get involved when you become insulin resistant. Cancer, PCOS, fatty liver, heart disease, high blood pressure, Alzheimer's, migraines, erectile dysfunction even, neuropathy, obesity, and diabetes, of course. All of these things are being shown ties to this insulin resistance. They've been messing with our systems for eons, guys. That's why the products I push in general are all about being healthy. This is the cherry on top. A good cherry that's healthy. Maybe not a maraschino one that's been soaked in sugar, but whatever. Incredible products. I want you to check it out. I want you to go to otfspecial.com. Try it out. You'll see it. You do 3 packets a day. 2 of them are the Unimate, and 1 of them is Balance. Balance is the last part of the day. They'll explain it in the video. But I'm telling you, I did the 1 of the packet today, and it was awesome. It was great. 1, delicious. 2, it literally did help with any cravings I had. I wasn't as hungry as I normally am in the morning. It was pretty awesome. So I want you guys to check out this quick video, and then we'll get back into the show. But this is not the video. There we go. This is the video. Check this out.
If you're constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away, listen up. There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great protocol.
And it does that. You're going to feel great. It's a trip. It's really good stuff. I want you guys to try it out. I want you to check it out. It's incredible, and it is changing people's lives. Literally getting their health back in their hands. You're going to be amazed. And then really when you start learning to eat better in general, you'll notice these problems don't come back. Put the power in your hands. It's a beautiful product. And again, it's called Unimate, but it's based off the yerba mate or whatever. So I just find it funny that the mate word's in it, but they say it's mate. I don't know if they have some Australian friends or what they're doing, but it's awesome. It's a great company. I know the owners are 2 wonderful gentlemen, and they're doing an amazing job. So check it out. Go to otfspecial.com. That's otfspecial.com, and make sure you just 3 data points, and you get the ball rolling. By now, of course, yeah. So it's all good stuff. To watch the video. This video explains it really well too. It's like 5.5 minutes. It will break it down for you. You'll be like, oh no way, that's what's going on. Yes. Go to otfspecial.com. otfspecial.com. There you go. Trump admin moves to cut the CFPB following a massive data leak scandal. It's funny, the left right now is trying to say the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is understaffed because of what Trump's done with his Doge cuts. But they keep failing to remember, and we keep reminding them, that back during the Biden administration, there was a massive scandal that plagued the consumer watchdog agency under Joe Biden, and one that left over 250,000 people's data exposed because of an individual. One individual. So hopefully that one got fired, Maxine Waters. We're just saying, because that probably makes us safer. Just keep leaving that problem out. Rep. LaMonica McIver faces federal charges for forcing her way into a New Jersey ICE facility during an attempted visit on immigration conditions. We played the video. She grabbed an officer's arms and struck another while fighting against security. The Trump DOJ indicted her in June on counts of assaulting and impeding federal officers, rejecting McIver's claims of protected legislative activity. Judge Semper, a Biden appointee, just denied dismissal and ruled that her physical action disconnected from any valid congressional oversight. McIver plans to appeal amid Democrats' accusations of political targeting. Yeah, the Biden judge, wouldn't let her drop the charges. John Fetterman, sad news happened this morning. I wanted to start here. I've got a pretty good little bit of interview. He's hard to listen to, I got to be honest, and just preface for you guys, obviously, just because the problem he had in general. And so, you know, he comes out a little jumbled sometimes. But one thing you can definitely get from everything he says is his heart. And again, he's a Democrat. I love this dude. That's all I'm going to say. I mean, again, you can hate him because he's got a D next to his name. My name's Dan, so I like D. You know what I mean? But that said, I think Fetterman's trying to do the right thing for this country. And I give presents for that. I do wonder if this is something that has been done to him. I know he would probably poo-poo against that, but the timing and coincidence of this is without you can't ignore it, right? Statements from Senator Fetterman's spokesperson. During an early morning walk, Senator Fetterman sustained a fall near his home in Braddock. Out of an abundance of caution, he was transported to a hospital in Pittsburgh. Upon evaluation, it was established he had a ventricular fibrillation flare-up that led to Senator Fetterman feeling lightheaded, falling to the ground, and hitting his face with minor injuries, a.k.a. he got lightheaded. Senator Fetterman had this to say: "If you thought my face looked bad before, wait until you see it now." He is doing well and receiving routine observations at the hospital. He has opted to stay so doctors can fine-tune his medication regimen. Senator Fetterman is grateful for the EMTs, doctors, and nurses who are providing his care. So he's fortunately okay. Here is where he was on with Fox's morning show. Fox and Friends, I guess they're called. And here it is.
I think my party crossed a line of now putting 42 million Americans with their SNAP benefits and making flying less safe and that kinds of chaos and not paying our military. I mean, that was a red line for me that I can't cross as a Democrat. And I think that's been described country over the party. And now I think that's been the truth throughout it. And it's only wrong to shut our government down. And I'm relieved. But the people now that are going to get paid and fed and millions of Americans, they're going to be flying now, that's going to be made more safe and restored.
So Senator Axios has a piece this morning that says Chuck Schumer was talking to the moderate Democrats, pulled them privately aside and said, "I know you want to open up the government after 2 weeks, but don't do that. Don't cave to the Republicans." Did he ever talk to you? He knew how you were going to vote. Did he ever talk to you about it?
Absolutely no. I was not in a conversation, or I never got any outreach. Everyone understood. I really kind of led the charge back in March. And then I said, I know we'll be back in September. And I said, I know where my vote will be then too. It's always a hard yes to keep our government open. I mean, that's my principle because it's wrong to shut our government down. And now we knew that we would put those 42 million Americans for SNAP and paying our military and, the Capitol Police. I mean, people have went 5 weeks without being paid. I mean, that's a violation of my core values. And I think it's our party's as well.
So, Senator, you came in as somewhat an outsider. And by the way, I was wrong, totally wrong about you. I thought you were going to be a radical, and you've been totally different than that. Who is running the show now in the Democratic Party, in the Senate, in the House? No one really knows. And I think my values are reflected in my vote and the things that I support here. And if that might put me at
at odds with parts of my party, I'm okay with that. I mean, we need to be a big party, a big tent party. So for me, it's like these are pretty reasonable. I mean, my party's always been opposing shutting our government down. I'm not sure why it's controversial now to devote these things, and I refuse to put all these people in the middle of this political kinds of brinkmanship.
So I want you to hear what Lindsey Graham said about you last night with Sean Hannity. Watch.
Senator Schumer is probably toast. He's probably can't survive in this environment. The question is, can Senator Fetterman? I think Senator Fetterman has got a hell of a story to tell to the people of Pennsylvania. I've been up here doing the best I can, and I think people are looking for that kind of attitude, not the Schumer attitude. They're looking for people to say, I'll listen to both sides, and I'll use my own judgment, not be told what to do. All I can say is that we held our ground. The government is open. We're going to have a healthy debate about health care, and there's one person that had a lot to do with this we've never talked about much, and that's Donald J. Trump.
Your reaction?
My reaction is what I said earlier. I am truly elated that our government is going to reopen for all of the millions and millions of Americans. Now will have their lives brought back to normal. And now Senator Graham, I agree with him on several of the foreign policies now, and we have collaborated on those things. In fact, we really both agreed that striking the Iranian nuclears was entirely appropriate and necessary. So I think, the truth in those situations, regardless of the letter after their names. For me, where is our party? Our party is trying to figure our way forward. And mine's going to be an honest projection of where the direction and the kind of values that our party should embrace. And that's going to play out. But for me, I have no regrets. I've been very...
Yeah, I feel like that finished a little earlier than I thought it would, but yes. So we are seeing people come together. That's what's awesome. So the 6 Democrats who approved the government shutdown, when it comes to the House vote, 6 Democrats crossed the aisle to join the Republicans to make up for the 2 Republicans that voted no. Of course, Massey was one of them, of course. And we'll get to the other one, Florida. It's up to you guys, Florida. But here's the 6 Democrats that crossed the aisle. Now, because probably they're in purple areas, and they know they're not going to win re-election if they don't. But California Rep. Adam Gray, Maine Rep. Jared Golden, New York Rep. Tom Suozzi, Northern Carolina Rep. Don Davis, Texas Rep. Henry Cuellar, Washington Rep. Mary Glusim Camp Perez, because, that just rolls off the frickin' tongue. 2 House Republicans also crossed party lines to reject the bill. Those are Reps Thomas Mathey from Kentucky, you homo, and Greg Steube of Florida, which is a bummer, because I actually went to school with a guy with a similar name. It's kind of weird. So I don't know what happened to the Steubster. Hope that's not him. Pray it's not. Donald Trump, it's time. I want to give call to the termination of the filibuster. This is, of course, during the shutdown stuff. I've got 3 different videos of myriad, a little speech he did, and then finally the signing and a bunch of just stupid clapping, ridiculously. I'll be curious if you guys think, because I might actually let it play out the whole 45 seconds of just redonkulous clapping. He even finished signing, and they just oh, whatever. It's okay. It's a fabulous thing. I have to criticize our own side once in a while for just, once you get so far up inside Trump's butt, come on, guys. I love Trump too. But I know it probably smells like McDonald's in there, so it's probably tempting for many. But no, stay away. Don't. No. Ugh.
We come up to midterms and other things. Don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster so that this can never happen again. If we had the filibuster terminated, this would never happen again. And don't forget, we have another date coming up in the not too distant future. We can never let this happen again. And we should be able to pass really great legislation. So I say terminate the filibuster because, by the way, the Democrats will do it immediately if they ever assumed office, which hopefully they won't. Today
I was just noticing the time is 9:18 when he was doing the Central Time anyways, but still, it's 9:09. I love that. One of my favorite numbers, by the way, is 927, because 9 is 3 squared, and 27 is 3 cubed, which is cool. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's really, truly neither, but it was interesting that timing was there. Here is Trump and his message for the American people. So this is his little speech thing. Check this out.
They didn't want to do it the easy way. They had to do it the hard way, and they look very bad, the Democrats do. They deprived more than 1 million government workers from their paychecks and cut off food stamp benefits for millions and millions more Americans in need. They caused tens of thousands of federal contractors and small businesses to go unpaid, and the total effect of the damage their antics caused will take weeks and probably months to really calculate accurately, including the serious harm that they did to our economy and to people and to families. So I just want to tell the American people, you should not forget this. When we come up to midterms and other things, don't forget what they've done to our country. I also want to call for a termination to the filibuster.
Yeah, to the filibuster. What they did to our country and what they failed to do in the purpose of why they put all of these people through pain. 42 million people. Millions and millions of people were put through pain because they were trying to use it as leverage. That's pretty, I don't know, that's pretty messed up. That's one thing that a lot of us on the I don't want to say the right, but I want to say us Q people for that matter. But a lot of us have, like, when they talk about everything's the plan and Trump's behind everything, and then you're like, so those 13 people that blew up when we got out of Afghanistan, that was Trump, and they're like, well, no, because you can't facet that we'd do that, and I don't think we would, frankly. I think that was Biden. I think he was behind that, but Trump was the commander-in-chief. So again, there was weird moments where we weren't sure who was doing what, and we're not the kind, like, it bothers us when lives are being lost. We're like, whoa. I don't care if it serves a purpose. I understand people get killed in war, but wait a minute, right? We have a problem with that. Needless to say. Here's the one that, you tell me.
Short-term disaster with the Democrats because they thought it would be good politically. And it's an honor now to sign this incredible bill and get our country working again. Thank you.
Oh my God. I mean, again, it's awesome. At the end, it made sense to clap. The continuation felt long, felt awkward. U.S. flights cut frozen at 6% until controllers show up to work, which, by the way, we got a cool video. The ones that stuck around, at least some of them, I don't know if this is just it. I hope this is just the ones that were in Washington area because they were the only ones that could actually be like, we're going to give you a day off and pay you for it. Is that cool? And they're like, I guess. I get paid, right? Needless to say, here's Kristi Noem handing out 10 grand to each of them. It'd be so cool if she would have done it like the game show, like with stacks of hundreds, be like 100, 200, 300, 400. Or if you've ever guys have seen, look it up. One of the best skits Steve Martin ever did. Absent-minded professor, or waiter, sorry. Absent-minded waiter. One of the funniest bits ever. Makes me think of that because he counts out 10 grand. That's back in like the late 70s, early 80s or something like that, or 80s. 10 grand was a crap ton of money then, which again goes back to inflation, and you should invest in gold and get the frick out of the stupid system. But that's not right now, Dan.
Rico, I want to present to you a check and say thank you from the American people. Appreciate it. Ashley, thank you. Yes. And is Leo here? All right, Leo.
All right, well, it's a nice moment that we were able to catch live there in Houston, Texas.
I'd love to see her like get some crazy ass name like Dongikwa Queen Taco Sinkafa. You know, like she pronounces it perfectly. Like I had to practice that like 400 times, and I still don't think I said it right. My problem typically is I'll forget. Like I'll say it like 15 times, and then I'll get live on air, and I'm like in my little stream of consciousness, and I'm like, I don't know how to say it anymore. What the fuck happened? It's painful. It sucks. Hey, guys, we all have problems, you know? Every one of us. Just saying, it's kind of a funny little post. It shows Dr. Evil on the red phone. Now, everyone knows we closed the government for no reason but to get Trump. And then we've got whatever the Fraus, whatever her name is. Release the Epstein files! Redacted that have already been unredacted. I'll probably start coughing if I do that scream. But release the Epstein files redacted that have already been unredacted. Because I guess more of them came out redacted. I don't know. Yeah, you know the problem. Now, this is interesting post that happened on AF Post. Take it for what it's worth. But Jeffrey Epstein claimed that Hillary Clinton had a sexual relationship with former attorney and White House counsel Vince Foster. Foster committed suicide in 1993. Now, two things. This could go either way. Clintons probably killed Foster. Probably. I mean, the chick wore a face and walked around with it. So, I mean, yeah. Or, and this is also likely, once you've had sex with Hillary Clinton, I mean, like, what else can you do but commit suicide? Like, you can't live with that every day. Be like, oh my God, I keep seeing her naked in my mind. Yeah, it's not a good thing. Not a good thing. Tim Burchett, well, he's talking about trying to, everyone's saying, we got to release the Epstein files. Well, Tim Burchett's like calling them on their bluff, turning the submarine towards them, towards the torpedo, Red October. And listen.
Hey, everybody, Tim Burchett just left the House floor, and I tried to do a UC, unanimous consent, of tried to get the Epstein files, get it straight to the floor, just to cut out all this nonsense. And, and the Democrats blocked it, oddly enough. Now, here they've had it for 4 years, and they, obviously, if there's something there about Trump, they would have released it. And now they're all, let's get it out, let's get it out. Well, I just made a motion to bring it straight to the dadgum floor, and they blocked it. They blocked it. So this is politics. It has nothing to do with what's doing what's right. I mean, it's Washington, D.C. to a T. And again, they ought to be ashamed of themselves, but they're probably not. Thank y'all for sending me here.
I think when he said dadgum, I think my ear started bleeding just from getting that. I mean, my ear thing's in there, so I'll have to look at it later and see if there's blood on it. But yeah, dadgum's like, oh my God, the violence of language coming out of your face. We got breaking Epstein emails published by the House Democrats today. One, convenient. They waited all these years to get and publish these, seeing as Epstein was apparently emailing with Michael Wolff, who has been writing anti-Trump books for years. Wolff didn't provide these before. Two, the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. If you read between the lines, it sounds like Epstein and his friends are catching wind that Trump was likely an informant gathering dirt on them, not that Trump was involved with Epstein's crimes. Three, another email shows New York Times reporters tipping off Epstein that he's being investigated. The biggest story of all, these emails going unreported. And finally, fourth, one small claims Epstein wrote Bill Clinton never went to the island. Are these emails even real? Or did Epstein know these emails would be seen, so he was lying in them to cover? Maybe Trump was right when he says there's a Democrat hoax at play with possible disinfo planted. And I just want to give a call out to Jordan Sather. Good job, dude. You nailed this one. I think he's right on the money. I think Jordan nailed it. Hit that one out of the park. Just pointed at the fence. Crack. It's like, damn, dude. I did not know. You're kind of a skinny guy, you know? Shoot. Right Angle News Network put this out. Democrat shills have been caught pushing the lie that President Trump spent Thanksgiving 2017 with Epstein, despite him having been publicly photographed and documented by the press spending the holiday at Mar-a-Lago with his family and senior White House staff. But, you know, that doesn't count. It's easier because the Democrat said it. These guys are losing badly, folks. Remember when Epstein's lawyer said he specifically asked Epstein about Trump and then he cleared him? Yeah, I do too. Kind of funny, right? David Schoen posted this. I was hired to lead Jeffrey Epstein's defense as his criminal lawyer 9 days before he died. He sought my advice for months before that. I can say authoritatively, that's better, unequivocally and definitively that he had no information to hurt President Trump. I specifically asked him. This is, again, Democrats are running with stuff. Marjorie Taylor Greene's running with stuff. Like, it's just, stupid. Probably Thomas Massey crawled inside of Marjorie Taylor Greene's vagina and made, assuming she has one. I think she does. I'm pretty sure it's a woman. It's where secret deodorant really came into play, right? Strong enough for a man, but made for a woman. Johnson says vote on Epstein's files to take place next week after discharge petition. So they'll vote on it. We'll see. There's a lot of noise being made. Don't particularly. I mean, again, we'll get there. Like, don't let it tie you up over the next period of time. That's for sure. Jason Miller posted this. These guys are so fucked. It feels good to say. BBC Newsnight also doctored Trump's speech. Oops. Concerns were ignored over spliced footage of January 6th speech that aired on Newsnight 2 years before Panorama. And just to go back to the records, 46 minutes existed between the two things they spliced together to make it sound like Trump's like, and you can go fuck their grandmas too, or whatever it was he said. I don't think it was quite that bad, but that would have been rad, right? Grandmas everywhere getting laid. Would have been preposterous. Who does that? Certainly not anybody. I want to remind you guys of the Wellness Company, just a great company, first off, and it's like when I look back at what I've been through, this little sickness, it's kind of funny how it snuck in. I've got a lot going on with the Law of One material, by the way. That's brought a lot of interesting stuff into my life. So whatever the case is, I got this, man. I've been preparing for this my whole life. So yeah, I got a little bit of a cold. Nah. Whatever the case is, the actual infection's going away in the chest, which is fantastic. And it was the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine contagion kit, by the way. Ivermectin collection, by the way, is what killed the virus. I knocked the shit out of the virus. Now, infections are a different thing. That's why I highly recommend you check out the contagion kit. The contagion kit's actually got the Z-Pack, the azithromycin. It's got an antibiotic. Once you get a bacterial infection, you need an antibiotic. All the ivermectin in the world will not take care of that. It's antibacterial. You need that, right? So contagion kit's got you covered. It's got Ivers. It's got hydroxychloroquine. It's actually got the generic Tamiflu, which is another antiviral. And then it's got the Z-Pack in there, antibiotic. And it's got a nebulizer. And there was one point where I probably would have tried out the nebulizer. I was like, fuck, man, I'm just not breathing. This is a pain in the ass. Not literally, because it's the throat really that hurt the most, but made a difference. TWC.health/OTF, the wellness company. TWC.health/OTF. They've got amazing kits. First off, medical. That's got a whole bunch of antibiotics. I actually recommend both of them. The medical emergency kit. I'm just going to show it real quick just because it's redonkulous. Okay? And it's even cheaper than the contagion kit. I didn't know that. I thought they're all the same price. That's fantastic. Amoxicillin, azithromycin, doxycycline, what the shit? I can't say that. It's an antibiotic, though. I got an oral antibiotic, the metronidazole, whatever, and some Ivers. Oh, they got Ivers in here, too, dude. This is a good one to get, guys. If you got a family of two, if you know what I mean, husband and wife, I get one contagion kit and I'd get one medical emergency kit. It can be for each person or separate people or whatever, because the refills are cheaper, by the way. They'll send you refills if it's within like 2-3 years, whatever it is. I don't know the numbers, but they'll tell you. Fabulous stuff, right? So keep these things in mind. Wellness Farms, there's just stuff to keep well, which I recommend with some of the other products that we push. But they got beef boxes, they got pure protein sticks, beef jerky, bison trifecta, bison liver, broccoli sprouts, whipped tallow cream. They've got a lot of really, really cool products that are just fantastic. And then by Goal, which is one of the good ones, anti-aging. They've got a lot of stuff that helps with that. Appetite control, which I honestly think the Unimate or the Feel Great, I would probably recommend more just because I actually think it's better. The experience and what I'm hearing and what it kind of also does rather than just trying to keep you from eating and losing weight. Like Drop is great. The drops are awesome. If you want to go for it, it helps with your metabolism, helps with a lot of things. Just a few drops and drink that and you're supposed to be good to go. So try it out. That's under appetite control, right? That's certainly heart health, hormone, sexual health. You know, they got the boner pills and stuff like that. Cleanse and detox. They got it all. You go to twc.health/OTF. twc.health/OTF. Yeah, be healthy. You got to choose healthy. You got to be healthy. Otherwise, they win. And you don't want that to happen. None of us do. That's for sure. Hey, you know what? Colombia, the other place that makes cocaine significantly, they joined Britain in suspending intel sharing with us. So now, oh my God, now Colombia is not sharing all their spy resources with us. Damn. God, we got to be losing big time on that because, you know, everybody knows when it comes to intelligence and spies, Colombia's it. I mean, that's right. Whatever. Marco Rubio, he dismisses reports that UK stopped intelligence sharing over the drug boats. So he's saying, this is bullshit. So that's probably true too. We'll see. But here, I think, is NTD News. The man and the other man.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio is pushing back against a CNN report claiming Britain has stopped sharing intelligence with the U.S. over airstrikes in the Caribbean.
Speaking to reporters after a G7 meeting in Canada, Rubio dismissed the story as fake news.
I did see a CNN report yesterday. I'm not going to go into great detail and to say that it's a false story. It's a fake story. And what's happening now is people with a business card that has a government email on it become sources because they don't know, they're not even in the know. So they either have an agenda or they want to make themselves important. We have very strong partnerships with the UK and other countries. Again, nothing has changed or happened that has impeded in any way our ability to do what we're doing, nor are we asking anyone to help us with what we're doing in any realm, and that includes military.
Rubio also confirmed that the topic of U.S. military activity near Venezuela did not arise during his talks with G7 foreign ministers. The secretary pushed back on criticism from European officials, saying the European Union does not get to determine how the U.S. defends its national security.
U.S. operations have targeted suspected drug smuggling boats in the Caribbean and Pacific since September. In August, the State Department alleged that Venezuela had been taken over by a criminal gang and that the U.S. was moving away from diplomacy to a matter of law enforcement.
Yeah, and oh, wait, hang on. Breaking news. Marco Rubio was a porn star. Oh, I don't think that's actually true. Sorry. No, I made that up. Completely made it up. There's nobody on the other side. You guys know that. Except the stupid stuff I say in the microphone. Or music when I play that sometimes through there. But that's not what's happening right now. FBI's Kash Patel says the People's Republic of China has officially designated and listed all 13 precursors to make fentanyl as illegal. This is significant and maybe helps explain what's going on in South America as well a little better.
At a level never seen before. While at Ministry of Public Security headquarters, I met with my counterpart at MPS, where the Chinese government agreed on a plan to stop fentanyl precursors. What does that mean? The People's Republic of China has fully designated and listed all 13 precursors utilized to make fentanyl. Furthermore, they have agreed to control 7 chemical subsidiaries that are also utilized to produce this lethal drug. Effective immediately, essentially, President Trump has shut off the pipeline that creates fentanyl that kills tens of thousands of Americans. These substances are now banned, and they will no longer be utilized by the Mexican drug trafficking organizations or any other DTOs around the world to make this drug. This historic achievement has saved tens of thousands of lives. This historic achievement would not have been possible without the tremendous team of President Trump, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and Ambassador Perdue in China.
How bad do you guys feel for Dan Bongino never getting to actually spend any time in front of the camera? I almost feel bad for the guy because you know it bugs him. Marco Rubio defends U.S. strike on alleged drug boats against criticisms from American allies, so we understand. He says, I don't think that the European Union gets to determine what international law is, Rubio said. They certainly don't get to determine how the United States defends its national security. The United States is under attack from organized criminal narcotic terrorists in our hemisphere, and the president is responding in the defense of our country. I do find it interesting that all of these countries want us to send and supply, for example, nuclear-capable Tomahawk missiles to defend Europe. But when the United States positions aircraft carriers in our hemisphere where we live, somehow that's a problem. Good point, right? I hope he said it that sarcastic. CNN tries to imply that President Trump is trying to provoke an armed attack by blowing up drug boats. It's kind of funny. Let's go ahead and play it.
Is he trying to provoke an armed attack?
I think he would argue we're already under attack. You've got Venezuela that does move drugs into our country, not fentanyl. I agree with you. It's mostly cocaine. But they are part of a narco-terrorist system in our hemisphere that floods our country with drugs. And other countries that are our allies, they flood them with drugs. I agree with Jim. Efforts in the past seem to have not curtailed this. And so, look, he had promised a more muscular response to the international drug trade, particularly in our hemisphere. Now we're getting it. I mean, I guess you could debate the legality of it. I'll tell you the politics of it. It's about a 70-30 issue. The American people have been wanting the government to do something more about the narco-terrorism in our hemisphere, and they're doing it. And so I guess we'll see what the lawyers have to say, but I know what the American people think, and it's like, finally, somebody is taking these narco-terrorists seriously.
Well, you have to be killing narco-terrorists. We don't know who the people are on the boats.
They look like drug boats to me. I don't think these are mild-mannered fishermen.
That seems to be the rationale. They look like drug boats to me. That seems to be as far as we're going with that.
And so what? We just assume you as some fucking retard is supposed to, like, we're supposed to trust you? Like, you don't think it's a drug boat? I mean, you just think we're just blowing up fishing boats that are hauling ass with all sorts of weird shit inside? It doesn't look like they got any fish flopping in there, do they? They're certainly not fishing boats. They don't got the little net thingies out there. But whatever. Let's trust you, retard. Retarded people are fantastic. They really are. And calling them retarded people to their face is mean, but, you know. Anyway, Trump admin cracking down on cartel smuggling operations through tunnels in the southwest border and, by the way, the Canadian border. They're using new technologies. They're doing this in Texas and California. It is the PDS, the Persistent Surveillance and Detection Systems. They are, it should say there's PSDS, but they obviously already have a PSDS, which is interesting. But this is, they're basically, it's tunnel technology, being able to look through the ground and see tunnels. They're trying to figure out where they are, how far in they go, how deep they go, blah, 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 blah. They are finding stuff. And there was a pretty big one they just got down in San Diego. Had its own ventilation, had lighting, had a rail system in it so they could move heavy stuff. I think it was like 48 inches at the height as far as how tall it was, and 28 inches or so? It wasn't very wide. So again, you probably got to, you know, if you're a dude, or maybe it's just chicks, I don't know if they have to push stuff or if it's electric, because they are powered. So again, whatever. Pretty crazy stuff going on, though. Maduro's massive mobilization includes millions of poorly armed civilian militia, like grandma, holding a gun that there's no way this is like legit, because the weight of this firearm with the barrel extended like that, and little teeny grandma barely able to, I don't know. I have a hard time believing she's holding all that weight by herself. She's like, seriously, this chick probably weighs 85 pounds at best, right? But okay, whatever. We'll just assume that's an accurate photograph. Here's some more pictures of some of the Grand Tifa people. Oh wait, no, this is I think it was down in Venezuela, and these are interesting pictures. They all have perfect finger poise too. You notice that? Or perfect finger, what do they call that? Trigger finger posture? Or like, you know, you never touch the trigger, right? Like, I forget the proper term for that. I don't like just talk to gun people all the time. Certainly know what it is though, right? But yeah, all these people have like that trigger discipline. I think that's what they call it. Whatever the case is. I'm not disciplined enough to know. Happy retirement to the penny. The United States Mint pressed its last pennies on the 12th of November, so yesterday. For those of you guys playing at home, that would have been Wednesday, 11/12/25. Interesting numbers on that, too. So, yeah, no longer making pennies. There you go. Here's Tom Besant talking on Fox News about a lot of the expectations we expect. Well, that's redundant, but a lot of the expectations of the economy changing, things being more noticeable by first, second quarter next year. We need that to happen. We also need the Senate and House to be passing shit left, right, and center. So a lot of things need to happen over the next 6 months, or we're going to have a hard time in elections. Now, again, the other side is the election security. There is an expectation that Trump is going to be coming out in the next week or so where he's going to announce the executive order for elections. And that's going to be interesting. So that's going to spark all sorts of lawsuits. The Supreme Court's ultimately going to get involved. Has to happen quick enough so they can still print ballots. I'm reasonably sure the Supreme Court and the administrative group or whoever's in charge, like the 5 people that know what the hell's going on, is basically telling the Supreme Court, look, when this case comes, you guys have to take it. And I'm sure they're aware that things are coming. All said, Scott Bessent is, I think he's remarkable, and I love what he's doing. And I love hearing from him because the dude's solid. And knowing that he's likely the dude that punched Musk in the face because Musk was mouthing off. No offense to Musk. I like Musk, but Scott Bessent's a big, burly dude. I like that.
All right, we are back. With the CR passing through the Senate, tonight the House votes on a bill to reopen the government. However, the economic toll of the last 42 days will remain, with the CBO office estimating the U.S. has lost as much as $14 billion permanently due to the shutdown. Joining us now is a man who's got to balance our checkbook. He's our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Mr. Secretary, always great to see you.
Brian, good to see you.
How do we handle this type of financial loss, which has nothing to do with the American people, but we're on the hook for it?
Well, Brian, it's the Democrats tried to stop President Trump. They couldn't stop him in the courts. They couldn't stop him with the mainstream media. So they shut down the government. And they've taken the mask off. Ezra Klein in the New York Times yesterday actually said this was never about health care. This was about President Trump and his totalitarianism. So they were willing to cost the government tens of billions of dollars. The economy was in a great place, 3.8% growth last quarter, tracking very well this time. I think we're going to accelerate into 2026, but they've caused a hiccup here.
When you talk about the whole thing from the off-year elections was affordability. That was the words people like Zohran Mamdani used, but the ways of solving that are very different from the way you would do it. So when you look at affordability now and you go grocery shopping, for example, what products are you working on bringing down? We know that certain products are down, certain up. Like, for example, coffee. The president says, I'm going to lower the rates, tariff rates on Brazil and Vietnam and other places to try to bring the price of coffee down. What else are you doing?
Well, it's tough to do a lot of specific things, but I can tell you, Brian, you're going to see some substantial announcements over the next couple of days in terms of things we don't grow here in the United States. Coffee being one of them, bananas, other fruits, things like that. So that will bring the prices down very quickly. And Brian, we inherited this affordability mess. It was the worst inflation 40, 50 years, one of the worst in the nation's history. And affordability has two components. So there's the price level, and then there is income level. And what happened under Biden was the cumulative inflation, stated inflation, CPI, was 23%. But what happened to working Americans, their basket of goods and services, food, insurance, auto payments, was up in the 30s. So they felt a real gigantic differential there. And what we are going to do is, by bringing back high-paying manufacturing jobs, President Trump is going to do what he did in the first term, and that is for hourly workers and working Americans to have real wage increases. So, Brian, imagine two lines. There is the inflation line. We've got that under control. It's leveled out. That is going to start turning down. Then there's the income line, which under Biden, because so many of the jobs were government jobs, you can't get real wage growth from a government job. Real wages are going to increase. Right. And I would expect in the first quarter, second quarter of next year, those two lines are going to cross, and the American people are going to start feeling better. But look, this has been a tough period.
Which you feel like only 9 months in you inherited. But there are people that say the numbers are good on some areas, but I don't feel it. What do you say to those people who say, I don't feel it? Be patient?
I say that you are going to feel it, that I was just down in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina on Friday, and this new Boeing plant is opening up. That's 1,000 new jobs that the president has brought back. I went to a rare earth plant up in Sumter, South Carolina, 800 construction jobs, 300 permanent jobs that they think could become 3,000 permanent jobs. And the great part of the story there is those were Caterpillar workers who've been laid off. Thanks to President Trump, a new factory has moved in. So as we bring these trillions of dollars of investment into the U.S., they're all starting to break ground now. And look, I would have loved to be able to snap my fingers, have these facilities going. It takes time. We got the tax bill passed on July 4th, which gives huge incentives to come to the U.S., build your factory, expense it immediately, and create American jobs. And I think 2026 is going to be a blockbuster year.
All right. So for now, be patient. The president yesterday.
Brian, if I make one more point, I'm also the IRS commissioner. So what I can see is that with the president's signature campaign promises, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, auto deductibility of loans if you buy an American car, Americans didn't change their withholding for 2025. Right. So we're going to see substantial refunds for working families at the beginning, in the first quarter of 25. They'll change their withholding at the beginning of the year, and that will be a natural real wage growth.
So two things the president has thrown out, and I'll just tell you what he said to make it shorter. He said, hey, I'm thinking about $2,000 stimulus checks coming from the tariffs to everybody and 50-year mortgages. First off, on the $2,000 stimulus checks, isn't that like using your overdraft to pay off your credit cards? Or isn't it like, taking money from a credit card and paying off your bills? Do you think that that's the most financially responsible thing to do?
Well, there are a lot of options here. The president's talking about a $2,000 rebate, and that would be for families making less than, say, $100,000.
Have you decided on that yet?
We haven't. It's in discussion. But the other thing to think about, Brian, is that what we did with the tax bill is actually financing the president's no tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, and the big refunds you're going to see are a result of that. So that's another payment to the American people. And then the other thing you're going to see in the middle of the year are these Trump accounts. Every child born retroactively to January 1, but for the next 3 years, is going to get a $1,000 account that's going to be invested in the U.S. stock market. So that's another $1,000 for working families.
So yesterday, Laura Ingraham aired her interview from a couple of days ago, and the kind of clashed a little on H-1B visas, which you upped the fee to $100,000. I want you to watch this and tell me what you think.
Does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles.
Where do you stand, Mr. Secretary?
Brian, for years, 20, 30 years, we have offshore precision manufacturing jobs. And the president's point here is, we can't snap our fingers and say, you're going to learn how to build ships overnight. We want to bring semiconductor industry back to the U.S. There are going to be big facilities in Arizona. So I think the president's vision here is to bring in overseas workers where these jobs went.
Who have skills.
Who have the skills, 3, 5, 7 years to train the U.S. workers, then they can go home, the U.S. workers fully take over.
So do you understand the concern that people have? Hey, an American could have that job. Why you give it to a guy from
But an American can't have that job.
So it's specific skills.
Because we haven't built ships in the U.S. for years. We haven't built semiconductors. So this idea of overseas partners coming in, teaching American workers, then returning home, that's a home run.
Gotcha. Mr. Secretary, thanks so much. I know you have a busy day ahead, and I know that a lot of pressure on your shoulders. You're doing a great job. Thanks so much.
Good to be with you, Brian.
Absolutely. Great.
So again, that's another thing that they're going to try to spin up in their advantage, but it's not going to go well. And they're bringing the jobs, but at the same time, there are certain jobs that we need to learn how to do. Also, for people out there that are recommending stuff for their kids, learn skills, learn how to weld. Learn electrical, learn, plumbing is even going to be super important because they're going to be building a lot of these buildings and infrastructures, certainly going to be cooling and all sorts. So again, HVAC, there's a lot of very good skills that will be useful in a number of different places. So again, maybe you might want to consider moving if you live in some podunk town that used to be a coal mine. I don't know, maybe they turn your coal mine back on, but maybe not. Another tariff victory, General Motors directs parts suppliers to ditch China. So again, we're continuing in that vein. Futures again dropped. I talked about this earlier because the government reopened. I find that funny. So the stock market's down because the government reopened. I mean, again, it makes sense. I'm just trying to illustrate how funny that is. Now, interestingly, gold and silver are down a little bit today, which I find to be also interesting. But that all said, silver's down 1%, so $42. I'm sorry, gold's down that much, and then silver's down about $1.09, frankly. And it is what it is. So that's silver's at 52.35 right now, which is pretty sweet. So again, I just recommend getting out of their system. DRSlikesgold.com. We've got a special going on this month. You've got to close it by this month. It takes 5 to 6 business days to close it. We're at the 13th. You've still got plenty of time, but get your stuff together. Get your Fidelity and all that. If you got a 401k or an IRA, get out of their system. Get as much out as you can, divest as much as you can, whatever the case is. They do it sideways, so it's tax-free, penalty-free. You're going to get as much of your money out as you possibly can. It's also, Goldco offers up to 10% free silver to you. And I, this month only, am offering out of my own pocket 1% silver back to you. That's DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that nasty system. Do it this month. Get that extra 1%. It's almost like when your employer is willing to match you, at 1%. Usually it's a little more sometimes, but whatever. Then you at least take advantage of that. This is the time to take advantage of it. The stock market is in a weird place. We'll see what's got, but we've got some bumps in the road coming. We almost know it for sure. They got to get it out of their system. It's got to happen. We've got to cough this hairball up. And that's why you get into precious metals. It protects your buying power, not the money, the buying power. A lot of people get hooked on that dollar amount. Don't fixate on that. Fixate on what you can buy with the dollar amount that you have right now, because every day that's eroding what you can buy with it. The money may be going up, but what you can buy with it's going down. Go to DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that system while you can, because they certainly are trying to jack your whole world, and will if we let them. FDA issues a recall for ADHD medication. I don't know if this is something that you guys, hopefully a bunch of you guys don't need this. What is this? It's a crazy thing to say, too. It's Sun Pharmaceutical Industries. I mean, you've probably been told this if you're actually got a pharmacy prescription for this, but they've got FDA's doing a recall on this. Something's not quite right. It doesn't cause, they haven't had any deaths, and they certainly said it's nothing that can't be fixed if you get a little jacked on this, but getting out of it is a good idea. Lisdexamfetamine dimesylate. I guess it's sometimes marketed under the brand names of, Jesus, really? Vyvanse and Arinta. So again, if those matter, they've got some dates in there. You should check into it if you've got somebody on it. They say don't stop taking it. Talk to your doctor. Again, stopping on some of those drugs. And I almost wonder if that's an attempt to get a bunch of people that are ADHD to stop their medications, because when they stop them quickly, it causes problems. So be on the lookout for weirdness over the next short period of time, because as people get off their meds, they start doing very strange things. None of this stuff's by accident anymore, guys. So be careful. Be careful. Germany offers Afghans taxpayers money. They're like, literally, we're going to give you $2,000 to not come here. How does that sound? And so, yeah, they're working on it. Smart move. EU member states slams Ukraine's war mafia. They're basically like, look, you guys are, this is a good friend, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. But he's talking about how these guys take all this money in, and if they don't actually do anything with the weapons, here is his quote, "This is the chaos into which the Brusselian elite want to pour European taxpayer money, where whatever isn't shot off on the front lines ends up in the pockets of the war mafia. Madness." And he's right. People are figuring it out. It's pretty cool. Swedish king questions why Europe has to foot the bill for climate change. Yeah, United States ain't paying for it anymore. So, yeah, everyone's like, why are we doing this? Because it's a bad idea. That's why you're doing it. People are robbing you blind. Zaporozhye has basically Russia. I guess it was really foggy, which is strange. And Russia was able to sneak in further with Zaporozhye. It's the southern east region that they were talking about over there. And so, yeah, Russia's making more strides, it seems. U.S.'s sanctions have actually pushed India to stop really refining Russian crude anymore. It seems like there's still a little of it, but they're buying U.S. oil, or supposedly. So this is all helpful for everybody in the big picture, and hopefully helps end the war. $100 million Ukraine corruption scandal. What I wanted to point out on this that I thought was awesome, I mentioned the story yesterday. This is Zelensky ally. He fled, but he fled to Israel. Think about that for a second. The Khazarian mafia Nazi Ukrainian fled to Israel. Just let that float around inside your head. Anybody that gets it, gets it. And if you don't, that's cool. Marco Rubio says there is concern the West Bank violence could undermine peace. My lovely dear friend. Looks like a deer in the headlights, unfortunately, right now, sweetie. But Alice Tang, lovely lady.
More on Rubio. The Secretary of State has addressed West Bank violence, saying the incidents could undermine talks in Gaza. Israeli senators allegedly torched and defaced a mosque in a Palestinian village in the central West Bank overnight.
But yes, look, certainly there's some concern about events in the West Bank spilling over and creating an effect that could undermine what we're doing in Gaza. We don't expect it to. We'll do everything we can to make sure it doesn't happen.
The incident comes a day after some Israeli leaders condemned a recent attack by settlers against Palestinians. One wall and at least 3 copies of the Quran were torched. On one side of the mosque, messages were written such as, "We are not afraid, we will revenge again," and "keep on condemning." The Hebrew scrawl was difficult to make out, and it appeared to reference Major General Avi Bluth, the chief of the Israeli Military Central Command. Bluth denounced the violence yesterday. It was the latest in a string of attacks that have provoked expression of concerns from top officials, military leaders, and the Trump administration.
Thank you, Alice. Good job. You did a great job. Very proud of you. Experts doubt China's claim on this new AI quantum radar. There's just a lot of crazy claims coming out. By the way, it reminded me today of this actual story. I'm like, dude, I gotta order Sun Tzu's Law of War. So that book's actually, I think, showing up today. In fact, I was shocked. They would for free. They delivered it today. I got a crazy hair up my butt. Ordered 2 books, and bada bing, bada boom, it's gonna be here today. But it's because of this. Act strong when you're weak. So they've got all this crazy technology. They're able to use AI in the sonar world, and they're gonna unmask all of the American submarines because ours are significantly better than anyone else's. They tried this technology apparently on the Russians when they had their little battleground. That was the point of it. But Russian submarines, and I'm sure Russia did not send their finest over to this battle or this mock battle. But Russia's subs, especially like the Alpha, for example, that thing's loud as hell. It is an extraordinarily loud sub. It's very fast, super fast, in fact, it's like a torpedo, but it's stupid loud. That's common. So maybe China thinks they've got their shit figured out. But here's the other problem. Our SOSUS net, our underwater microphone net across the oceans is vast. And we've spent years and years and years perfecting it, creating it, enhancing it, and many, 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 many billions of dollars. All right. So this is interesting where China's like, we got this figured out and we're better than you. And we're like, probably not. Most likely not. Doubt you. Thanks for playing, though. Have a nice day. That's how that works. Lots happening, guys. We're making a difference. Keep doing the posts. Keep making the ripples. We've got to get people awake to the problems, especially voting. Okay? A lot of people are like, I can't believe they keep voting these people in. They're not. Give them a chance. We saw what happened in Seattle. They're doing this in blue places. They're cheating elections. We've got to get fair elections, or else we have no elections. We got to keep pushing, guys. Don't get lost on what's going to happen 3 years from now. Get lost on what's going to happen 1 year from now. What's going to happen, really less than that, frankly, because we've got stuff we've got to deal with. Trump's probably going to be coming out with something soon, announcement. So be prepared. Make the ripples. I love you guys. Law of One's happening today. Today's Thursday. Friday, tomorrow, we're doing the live show for the music. We're doing British music. It's actually really cool. Don't get all like, no, don't do that. First off, I know you're American because I can tell. You just showed unhappiness. Like British, they would have straight faced. Nothing would have. What do you mean? Actually, they in fact probably got happy and maybe smiled. I think they smile when they're happy. Yeah, I had a couple British friends that I saw face. Yeah, when I say something actually funny, they'd laugh. It was good. Anyway, whatever the case is, we're going to be doing that 3 p.m. Pacific time. 6 p.m. Eastern. That's when I do these live shows, Thursday and Friday. Thursday, of course, Law of One. Friday, the music show. Hopefully you can join me for, certainly the music show, for you guys that are into the spiritual thing that we're doing with the Law of One. Hopefully you can join me for that today. We'll look forward to seeing you. And we have been doing a fun little live, not live, I don't broadcast it, but I hang out with some of the people in the StreamYard, and I share that in the comments. So you've got to be part of the live show to even get into that. I don't broadcast it because it's just us hanging out, and we do it for about 30 minutes or so after the show. It's a chance to ask questions, and I do my best to be available for you guys. I love you guys. All of this stuff's happening, and it's keeping me constantly trying to do shit. That said, I love you. On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Oh, where we go one, we go all. Now it's On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.